Hello, this is David Rankin, Managing Partner of Cornerstone Data Systems. We are an Oracle Gold Partner. We specialize in Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, Oracle Autonomous Database, and everything Oracle Tech core stack related. This presentation is going to go over the capabilities of Oracle Autonomous Database, and we're going to do a demonstration, soup to nuts, of how to get started with Oracle Autonomous Database. So let's get right to it. So the first thing we want to do is log in into our Oracle Cloud Infrastructure and go to our tenancy. Once logged in into the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, we have access to a dashboard that gives us all the different options that are available on OCI, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. So we're going to go to Database or any one of the particular services under OCI and open our Services dashboard. Once the Services dashboard is opened, we can choose to launch a database system, a compute node, block storage, any one of the different components. In this particular case, we're interested in Oracle Autonomous Data Warehouse. So let's launch Autonomous Data Warehouse dashboard. And here we are. Here's the dashboard. And from the dashboard, we are able to create an autonomous database. Creating an autonomous database is really a single-click operation. Really nothing more than just create autonomous database, as you can see here on the screen. And then there's 4 options that we need to fulfill in order for Oracle Cloud Infrastructure to provision the autonomous database. Initially, we have to set up a compartment within OCI. That's for later discussion, but it's a really simple operation that allows us to create a bucket where we can store all resources for a particular implementation of Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. So now let's proceed with creating Oracle Cloud Autonomous Database. So we're going to click on Create Autonomous Database. We're going to select Autonomous Data Warehouse. In this particular case, operations for both Autonomous Data Warehouse and Autonomous Transaction Processing are going to be the same. But we're going to focus on the Data Warehouse. We're going to select the compartment that we're interested in. We're going to give it a name. We're just going to call this one, let's call it Demo. We're going to select Create Autonomous Database, go with the defaults, select the core count. In this particular case, I am going to select a single core with a terabyte of storage. And give it some password that we can reuse later. And you have to adhere to certain parameters for creating passwords. So once that is done, we're going to say subscribe to new database software license and database cloud service and click on create. And the autonomous database goes off to the races and starts the provisioning of the database. While autonomous data warehouse is being provisioned, I'd like to speak a little bit about the features that it brings to the table. So from here, it is able to have elasticity in the sense that we can scale up or down the number of cores and storage for the database. It also creates automatic backups that are created daily and stored on Oracle Cloud for 60 days. Automatically created, so there's no reason or no need for you to back that up. There's also no need for any table space management or any type of DBA functions that require day-to-day operations like any other regular database. Completely autonomous, self-driving, self-indexing, self-healing, self-securing database paradigm here that we have. Great model as well for deploying large databases on the cloud. And Oracle provides a backend that is like no other. Um, it is based on the Exadata engineered system. So it is a very powerful system that can auto scale and again provides completely unattended management through machine learning, artificial intelligence, and an array of product sets that are incorporated into this delivery, into this solution, that gives us great capability and flexibility to manage a highly complex environment. So once Autonomous Database has been provisioned, then we can start the process of using and connecting to the system. Just to go over it really quick, here are the different actions that we can take upon through this interface to manage the Autonomous Database. Here are all the different options that we can, things that we can do to it, all the different actions that we can do. We can stop it. That will stop the usage of the Universal Cloud credits. Here we can scale up and down the number of cores that we've selected and then amount of storage. This is the service console where we can actually see the different metrics that are being gathered by the system. And also here we have access to the credentials that we need to download in order to start using the autonomous data warehouse. So in this particular example, what we're going to do is that we're going to download the connection, download the file to our computer, and it's a wallet, and we're going to just define a password. That we can later reuse. So it created the password, and as you can see down here, the wallet has been downloaded to my laptop, to my compute. It can be anywhere actually, right? So once that is done, then we're ready to create a connection to the Autonomous Data Warehouse. In this particular instance, we're going to be using SQL Developer to connect to it. Here you will see the downloaded file of the wallet that was created by the Autonomous Data Warehouse. And as you can see here, let me bring it over. And here is the wallet that has been created on our behalf by the downloading of the DB connections from the OCI interface. We will use this wallet to summon SQL Developer and create a connection to the database through SQL Developer. So once we have SQL Developer up and running, we're going to create a connection to the Autonomous Database, Autonomous Data Warehouse. Let's call it ADW Demo. And we're going to say that the application default is that. And we're going to pick the type of connection, which is the important piece. Here's Oracle Cloud Wallet. And we're going to browse and look for that particular file that we downloaded from ADW and provide it for SQL Developer. We're going to connect as the admin account with the password that we created when we downloaded the database connection. We can test. Let's save the password and say, hey, let's make it, let's use either, there's the 3 different configurations of Oracle Data Warehouse, high, low, and medium, that defines the performance of the systems. We can talk about that. We will talk about that here in a few minutes. And we're just going to test the connection to the to ADW, and as you can see right there, we have success. So we have connected to that database instance that we created here earlier. So I'm going to save this file, and I'm going to say connect. Once connected, then I can create sessions, right, against the autonomous data warehouse. And in this particular case, the session is there available. There is really nothing for us to use because it is empty. There's nothing in there. So what we're going to do is that we're going to load, as the admin user, we're going to load a set of scripts that is going to provision some tables onto the data warehouse, and then we're going to use some analytics to immediately see how the system performs, and some of the visualization tools that are very interesting for us to use. And we'll also see, we'll use the service console illustrated here to show us the different components and how they're performing. As of right now, as you can see, there's no metrics because there's really nothing that we haven't done anything with the system yet. So there hasn't been any loads or anything like that. So it's pretty flat. Some CPU spikes, but that's minor. Nothing to be concerned about or interested in right now. But we'll see this change as we start loading data and doing queries against the autonomous database. So now here I have loaded a script that is going to provision a database for us with some data and some information that we're going to use to load the ADW demo database with, and then query it and generate some visualizations. So let's go ahead and run this script against the autonomous database. I'm going to ask you to switch connection. That's the connection we want. And off it goes. Initially, it tries to drop a table that does not exist. So that's why you see that initial failure of the drop and the subsequent failure as well. You'll see there, but that doesn't really concern us at this time. It doesn't matter because who knows the table doesn't exist, so can't drop it. Performing all the different DML and DDL operations. Once this is completed, we will be able to see some activity or be able to perform some functions on it. Here we go. Here's you see the system as it goes through its different iterations, and the CPU utilization activity kind of changes a bit. No items to display at this time. Let's do a refresh and see what shows up. So the data load has completed, and we have a set of tables that we can go after and query. For example, I've done some already for us so that we can see the data that has been loaded onto the system. Here's data that we're going to be able to use the visualization tools in order to show some of the capabilities that out of the box through machine learning the autonomous data warehouse brings to us. Okay. So just to recap, we've created an autonomous database from the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure dashboard in our service console, and we've been able to configure the database, been able to add a schema with data, and we can query this data from a SQL developer. We've downloaded the wallet to allow SQL developer to connect to the autonomous data warehouse. As you can see, it's very simple, so it's great for out-of-the-box, born in the cloud type of analytics applications that you may want. And this is just one of the methods, obviously, that we can load data onto the autonomous data warehouse via. We can also use a SQL loader, or we can use data pumps as well through the DBMS cloud package. And Oracle Cloud Infrastructure Object Storage. So through the Service Console, we're going to be able to select, through the Service Console, we'll be able to select the Administration tab, and then from there, we're going to create the Oracle Machine Learning user accounts. So let's create one. And then we will provide this as, we will use this, and I'll say David Rincon. And say create. So an email will be delivered to me in which I will be able to go and set up my Oracle Machine Learning account and start using the visualization tools. Here is the email that you will receive once you set up an Oracle OML, Oracle Machine Learning account. And so from here, we can say, all right, let's go and access my analytics dashboard, and it's asking me to create a new password. I'm going to do so. Oops. And sign in. Once we've signed in, you will see this very simple interface that will allow us to run SQL queries against the Autonomous Data Warehouse. So the concept of notebooks here, or workspaces, notebooks and projects. So here what we're going to do is that we're just going to run some SQL statements against the database. And real quickly, show the visualization tools. So here's a Scratchpad, and from here, think of it as a SQL worksheet or SQL Plus, but a little bit nicer interface. So let's just take one of these queries and let's just start hitting the database and create what they call a paragraph and say, go run it. Run it for us, start it running, and okay, what this here shows us is that there is, as the OML user, I don't have access privileges to this particular table space. So I'm going to go out there and immediately give it privileges so that it can access data from the admin schema and select data from DCA customers. In order to do so, I am going to just execute this grant and this grant. For simplicity's sake, I'm doing this. So once that is done, then this should come back and work. Here we go. So now we have output from our query, and we could select either the tabular format, which is currently shown, or we can just change this to a graph or a pie chart. Not very meaningful there in that particular instance, but nonetheless, you can see how easy it is to graph our data out in the different formats and then share this with other folks that are using these notebooks. These notebooks can be shared and can provide a quick way to exchange and collaborate information that is relevant to the task at hand. As you can see, this is very simple to do, and I can go ahead and continue to add more notebooks to this, right? And more paragraphs, and expand on the application of the autonomous data warehouse that I've just built. So I'm just going to go grab another select statement, put it in here, run it, because I need to tell it here that it's admin dot, which is the owner schema. Go run it, and here you go. Again, visualization tools, very simple, very quickly. We can generate these nice graphs that allow us to make sense of the data that we are uploading to the autonomous data warehouse. Well, that concludes this presentation, and I hope that you had found it to be of interest. And as you can see, autonomous data warehouse is a extremely simple way of deploying Oracle databases with a single click, and give you immediate, literally immediate access to the power of the Oracle back end, which is in this case an Oracle Exadata machine. We can scale this out, both CPUs and storage as needed. The autonomous data warehouse is self-driving, self-securing, automatic indexing. It's a super smart system which grows its capabilities as you use it through machine learning and artificial intelligence software. More to come as we progress through the life cycle of this product, but out of the gate, this product is absolutely amazing and extremely simple to use. And that is the key right there, that we can go to the cloud with a very powerful back end in a matter of minutes. So within an hour, you could be completely productive, generating meaningful output and information that will help you with your job, with your tasks at hand, and with great simplicity. Again, this is David Rencon with Cornerstone Data Systems. Here you have our phone number, my email address. Call, email me, let's start a conversation, and I hope to hear from you soon, and I hope you found this demo to be of interest and use to you. Thank you so much.